Waiting for the sunshine. Waiting for the sunshine. Ooh, waiting for the sunshine. Waiting for the sunshine. Ooh, waiting for the sunshine. Waiting for the sunshine. Ooh.
Welcome everyone to another round of the Virtual Drift Championship. This is the final round, round 6 at Jyllands-Ringen. My name is Craig. With me as always is Tanner. What's going on, Tanner?
What is happening, Craig? We're here at the final round. It has been 6 rounds, well, 5 previous to this one, of just crazy action, intense battles, intense qualifying. No matter which event you click on or go back and watch or were there live for, it was just absolute awesomeness to be around. And now we're here into the final round with 3 drivers, 30 points away from each other. This is still anyone's game for the championship fight tonight, so I'm betting the battles later today are going to be just as crazy as ever.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll actually pull up the current standings that was posted to our socials the other day, and as you can see there, super duper close between all of these drivers there, and a couple of fights to think about a little bit further down too. Vladislav coming out swinging this season and is holding on to that rookie of the year position, but Gawain right there behind him, just a few points back there as well. But again, those 30 points separating those top 3 drivers is absolutely insane. And we'll go to today's line map for this ridiculously long layout today, our longest layout of the series, maybe by far. Actually a couple of seconds longer than Okayama, but the amount of outside zones and inside clips, there's a lot of them. As you can see, 16 today, and the start of the course is up there at the top of the screen, and then into your first decel zone. So big entry there. Drivers will be doing about 85-90 miles an hour when they enter in, and then pick up throttle, drive in for your first inside clip inside that in clip 2, and then back to your next outside zone at clip 3, down to your next inside clip at clip 4, and out to the outside zone at clip 5. Now these outside zones that have these rumble strips on the outside, except for clip 6, judges want to see drivers using those outside rumble strips really to their fullest to get max points today. And we'll move on through the course down to clip 7 for your next inside clip, and then your next big decel zone there at clip 8, but it must stay smooth. And after that driver's transition, judges don't want to see those drivers checking up before they make that transition, which would really mess the chase up later on for battles. They want to see them transitioning down that track for clip 8, then decelling very smoothly, picking up throttle, driving that car in for clip 9, and then continuing on through the course into clip 10, your next outside zone, really with the same amount of angle through clip 8, 9, and 10, and then continue on into 11, carrying that momentum through the track out to 13 for your next outside zone. Again, using that rumble down to your next inside clip, clip 14, and out to your next outside zone, clip 15, and your last and final one with the wall ride, clip 16, to round out, again, this super long course.
A long course indeed. And looks like we have our first driver of qualifying here for the final round at the line and ready to go.
Yeah, we sure do. Shoma Takaya at the line, ready to go, ready to kick things off for the final round here at Jyllands-Ringen. Lights are on. He's ready to go. Shoma returning back in that hybrid S chassis you see there. Rear S14, front S13, and looking good here through the beginning portion of the course, filling these zones super deep out there. Nicely done across the inside clip. Very smooth decel from him. That's a fantastic line Shoma's got going here to kick things off. A little wide for that inside clip, but he's going to continue on, filling that outside zone, using that rumble strip. Last and final decel zone, picks that throttle up. Nicely done along the wall. Shoma Takaya starting things out strong.
Yeah, Shoma coming out very strong there on the very first run. And I mean, it's a blessing yet a curse sometimes to have the first run of the day, but he looks like he comes through very strong. And with this course being so long, Any little mistake is going to be noticed by the judges, but I feel like Shoma's coming out swinging, and he does with a 91.3 to start us out. We had little side talks earlier. What do we think? Thought it was going to be about an 88 for getting into qualifying today, but let's see what Artem Makashenko can do here in the Audi. Initiates in and looking good so far through the initiation in these first 3-4 clips. Through that outer zone, could have been a bit deeper onto those rumble strips, but makes the next transition work. So he comes into that decel zone looking good, picking up throttle, and holding a nice line through here. Brings it on through. Gets nice and tight to those inside clips. Pushes out, one last wall ride to go. Come on, Artem, almost at the finish. And crosses that line.
Yeah, what a layup. And look at there, 83.3 on the board for Artem Makashenko to start things out. We're quickly on to Ryan Littoral. First run of the day for Ryan there. Coming up a little short of that inside clip. Not quite using the rumble, but getting up onto the rumble for outside 3. Super deep for 4. And smooth, but I'd say maybe took quite a bit of time to pick up throttle. Like he couldn't find the gear there, but he's going to continue on a really nice line here. And just laying into the throttle up along the wall. And there he goes, finishing out run 1.
Ryan Littoral there, giving the wall a little kiss on the entry. Oh, that was quite smooth. I was hoping that wasn't going to end his run, and it definitely didn't. We just wait for one more score to come in for him, and an 88.3 there for Ryan Littoral. It's a very good score here, especially with such a long track. These scores are going to be, the judges are going to be scrutinizing it very tightly because of just how much there is to look at now. As we have Roma Konatrenko out in the Supra, initiating in, huge initiation, really throwing that Supra in there, gets right up on those rumble strips, holding it nice and tight to that inside clip. Could have been a little more on that other rumble out of clip 4 there, but makes it work, and it transitions, huge transition, grabs the throttle again. Look at Roma here, really throwing that Supra around, getting it where it needs to be. Nice and smooth, wavering through this last little section. Last wall ride, has to make a quick correction there, but gets it up on the wall and holds it together to finish it out.
Yeah, not a bad run there from Roma. But again, it's going to be tough today. Look at there, 86.7 with all of these outside zones and inside clips. There's a lot more places for deductions to happen. So, with each and every one of them that aren't perfect, you're getting a deduction. So, it might separate the points out today in qualifying. Maybe bring that cutoff score a little down. Here's Mustafa throwing it in for run 1. All the way out there to the rumble, staying off of it for the inside clip, and then all the way out to that outside rumble. Filling outside zone 4 a little wide for the inside clip, but right there on the track edge. Or that outside zone, continuing on second half of the course now. Really almost 2 courses merged into one. And there's that clip 16. Oh no, a little bit of the wall there straightening him out, but he continues on. So he will get a score.
Yeah, luckily enough that it'll probably impact him a little bit, but coming in with a 78.3 there for Mustafa Amine, so probably something he didn't want to see, especially right at the end of the run when he thought he had it all down pat. Coming at you next here is Pontus Jakobsen in that R35. Initiating in, missing out on that inside clip though, but making up for it with the next outside zone. Pushes through these next few quite cleanly here as he makes the transition down towards the D-cell. Lots of angle, lots of lock. Gets that inside clip, pushes out. Maybe just touch it. Those little clipping points we have out there in the outer zone, but making it work here. Looking good out there as Pontus in the return of the R35. Final transition onto the wall. Goes into it a little bit, but holds onto it and finishes it out.
Yeah, second halfway victim to the wall there. They continuing on though and getting scores on the board anyway. 84 for Pontus as we move on to Brandon Williamson. Or Williams, excuse me. Lights are on. Again, switching to the S chassis. Just a few rounds ago and looking good through turn one here. All the way out to the rumble, off of it for that inside clip as he should be. And deep for that outside four. Smooth decel there. He's going to end up on the inside though, a little bit over that rumble. Again, judges want to see the drivers off of the inside rumbles, but using those outsides, except for outside zone 4, because there's a big hump there. But Brandon continuing on off the wall and finishing out his first run.
Brandon looking really strong today, actually, in that S chassis of his. Came out a pretty decent run there, too, with an 85.3. Group 1 here, almost done for the first battles. We have Kevin Stump at the line in that new Nissan Z, the NOS Energy Drink Nissan Z, ready to go. He initiates in, good initiation from that Z as he gets to that inside clip and pushes out to those outer zones, back to the inside clip, now to the outside clip. Look at this. So many clips to talk about in one run. But he's looking good doing it, comes in for that decel, goes a little wide, but picks up the throttle, maybe drops a tire there as he comes back around to push for these other few final clipping points. Gets through that second to last outer zone. Wall ride to go. Looking smooth. Holding it together. I'd say that's a pretty solid run there from Kevin Stump.
Yeah, not too bad at all. A little hesitant picking throttle back up after the big decel zone area. But solid nonetheless. 88 on the board. And we're on to Connor Christensen. Throwing it in. Snappy initiation. Nice line through that inside clip and outside zone. All the way through turn 1. Out to that outside zone there as well. Whoa, and he's going to go backwards and wide for that inside clip. Fills the next outside zone, but a big deduction coming from that decel area as judges spoke about it in drivers meetings, saying that, you know, they don't want to see drivers going backwards, having super snappy transitions there through that decel area. But points on the board nonetheless for Connor Christensen.
Nonetheless, indeed. But I mean, I do give him commitment as an 84 comes on the board there for Connor Christensen, as we have our last driver here of Group 1 for the first set of runs. One more set to go after this. Oliver Eppinger. Another Toyota Supra coming at you. Huge wide body on this thing. Initiates in. And looking good so far. A little touch on the too far inside there. Not as deep into that first outside or second outside zone. But makes it work here as we move through the rest of the course. Maybe demolishing that inside clip as well. Coming into that decel zone. Nice and tight around that inside clip. Pushes out to the outer zone. Makes the transition. Drop and tire though. Kind of a little wide, a little over the place, but Oliver trying to make it work and at least get those points on the board. It's a long course. Want to just get them on as Oliver finishes out there, and we'll see what kind of score he gets from that run.
Yeah, it looked like just a little bit too much grip dialed into that car, and it's going to be an 80 on the board for Oliver Eppinger as we saw him coming a little shy of the outside rumbles. Again, need to be using those rumble strips in that lead position. But we're quickly back around to Shoma Takaya, run 2 coming up here, and he's going for it on the initiation. Nicely done here for the first couple of clips. All the way out to that rumble. And looking good once again here is Shoma Takaya. Doing everything he needs to do here in this qualifying run. is. Last and final zone. I didn't. Oh, goodness.
Wow.
Across the finish line. I didn't want to, jinx him, but man, what a run from Shoma.
Yeah, Shoma coming out, showing out, and getting a 94 on the board. And that was a run well deserving of a 94. Very good job, Shoma. Now we'll still our number one qualifier now for Group 1 as we move to Artem Makashenko. Sitting on that 83.3. Let's see what he can do for his second run here. Throws it in, gets that inside clip, pushes out. Goes outside clip, the next inside clip, to the next one, all of turn 1 there. Look at Artem move this Audi RS3 through the course. Gets it into that inside clip, pushing out to the next outer zone. Only a few more to go. This run, when you're in the car, feels like it goes on forever. But for us, it goes by pretty quick. He pushes out to the second to last outer zone. One more to go. Grabbing that outer wall, hanging on to it. Finishing out the run for Artem.
Yeah, much better run there from his previous one of an 83.3. And an 87 on the board for Artem. And we move on to Ryan Literal. Currently on the 88.3. Yeah, right around where we're predicting the cutoff score to be for this long track. So might want to better it. But he's looking good through turn 1 so far, all the way out there to that rumble strip. Nicely done there through that inside clip as well. Nice and smooth. Picking up throttle maybe just a little late and going a little wide for the inside clip, but doing a nice job with these outside zones here. Down across that inside clip. And there it is, run 2 for Ryan Literal.
Ryan really on a tear on that run, really just putting it all together, making it work, barely any wavering in that wheel through the whole course, and the score shows for it, a 92.7 for Ryan Literal's second run, so that'll be a good run indeed. Roma Katastrenka now at the line, sitting on that 86.7. We'll see what they can do. Whoa, speedy initiation, almost missing out on that first inside clip, but does manage to get it. Roma really putting it all on the line here for this second run. Look how fast the Supra is moving through this course, getting through that next outside zone and diving down to the inside clip. Roma trying to keep it online, but keeping that pace up as well. Pushing through the final few outer zones. Getting through the second to last, now just the wall ride. He wants to improve that score. And he puts it right on the wall there for the finish, and we'll see what the judges have to say with that run.
Yeah, although really fast through the course, not quite what the judges want to see there. And there it is, 86.3 on the board for Kondratenko in his second run. And we're on to Mustafa. Coming off to 78.3. We'll want to better that score. He's going to go after it here for run 2. Nicely done for the inside clip. It continues on all the way out there to that edge. And picking up throttle early. Still going just a little wide there for that inside clip area. Continuing on. Mustafa on a tear here through run 2, trying to again better that 78.3. He'll need to do that for this run, and look at there, all the way up against the wall. Mustafa
really not happy with that 78.3 from the first run, if I would imagine, after seeing that run. Really on it, putting the car right where it needed to be, and that's a lot better of a score, an 89.3 for Mustafa Amine, as we have Pontus Jakobsen at the line in the R35. Pontus sitting on that 84, so maybe another driver that wants to improve, get a higher score, see if they can make it into battles today, gets through that inside clip. And, again, when we have such a long course, kind of less places to hide. The judges can see a lot here. We can see the wavering in the wheels. We can see your line a lot clearer. Not saying that it's any different on the shorter tracks, just a lot more room for error on this long track as he comes through the final few clips now, getting through that second to last outer zone. This run so far has looked really clean from Pontus. A little hiccup there with that wheel, gets it back to angle, and ooh, just touches the wall at the finish.
Yeah, an exciting run there from Pontus, trying to better the 84. He might just do that with that run. Nice and smooth out of the GTR. And he does, 89.3 on the board for Pontus. And here's Brandon Williams. Up for his second run. Might need to better the 85.3. We don't know what that cutoff score is going to be like today with this super long course and all these clips and zones. But Brandon looking good here through turn one. Nice and smooth through the power alley section. Good transition, picks that throttle up nice and tight to the inside clip. Again, lead drivers need to stay off those inside rumbles to give room for that chase later on today. Brandon doing a good job here. Nice and smooth into this last and final turn. Brandon Williams.
Yeah, Brandon looking way more comfortable now. He's switched away from the Toyotas and over into the S chassis. So good to see him coming out and really swinging with the chassis change as he ends up there with an 89.7 for his final run. As we move over now to Kevin Stump in the NOS Energy Drink Nissan Z. Kevin Stump sitting on an 88. We'll see what if he can better it here on his second run. Really lighten up those tires down the straight through that first outside zone. Off the initiation, looking good through turn one here. Brings it around now for the next set of clips on a good line, holding it together, gets the nice inside clip there done, gets the outer zones. Now only a few more to go. He's looking clean, doing it, holding that angle nicely, keeping on line. Now for the wall ride. Looking good. Kevin Stump coming out swinging.
Yeah, and again, might need to better the 88. The scores to get into top 32 this season have been insane, all in the 90s, and there's a 91 on the board for Kevin Stump. And here's Connor Christensen for run two, sitting on an 84. And throwing that super in once again. Keep that same energy through this course here. Nice line through the power alley section. Little late on the transition there, and he's gonna go just a little wide for that inside clip, but filling the next outside zone. A little shy there. He continues on using that rumble strip on the outside as he should. Well, is that one last and final transition here? Out to the wall. And across that finish line, Connor Christensen.
Yeah, Connor again, really picking it up, really putting the car where it needs to be, and ends up there with an 89.3 as we're on to our final driver here of Group 1, Oliver Eppinger, sitting on an 80. So far, I think everyone on their second runs has improved. So let's see if Oliver can keep up with that trend, initiates in. I remember his last one was really speedy through the course, just not doing a bunch of stuff the judges really didn't want to see. So let's see if he can clean that up this run, as he's looking good through the first half here so far. Gets it through that inside clip, gets back on throttle, really pushing here. Again, still really quick, but looking a lot cleaner this time around as he pushes out to that outside zone. Still getting up on those rumble strips, that inside tire, but makes it work and pushes through to the end.
Yeah, using more of the course that run. First run, scoring that 80, kept falling a little bit short of those outside zones and not using the rumble strips. And look at there, 86.3, so he does better it. Keeps that trend going. And Shoma Takaya currently leading the top 32 here in qualifying after Group 1. 94 on the board. Ryan Literal with his 92.7. Kevin Stump with his 91. Round out the current top 3. As that's going to do it for the first group of qualifying.
Yeah, what a intense first group. I mean, you can still see some drivers still aren't too comfortable with how long the layout is, and just to really keep focused for that long of a time. You know, it's almost, it's about a 44 second run. It's a lot to go through in just one fell swoop, and to make sure you get everything right. And you know, you can't really, if you make one mistake, you can't let it daunt on you. You just got to reset. Okay, get back on it for the next one, and really hope you push through to get those high scores to make sure you're in battles for later today.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a tough one today with the extended layout. Again, maybe, you know, sort of testing the waters here with these a lot longer layouts. Well, Silverstone's original idea was actually 2 more turns longer, but there was a couple of things that stopped that from happening. But here we are with this long layout. This one was actually going to be shorter, and after doing testing, you know, we threw in the first turn there, and it all linked together and stayed exciting, added an extra element to the course. So we chose to leave it in, and here we are today with this 16 clip layout. And I already see a ton of people asking if the track is going to be public. It is, as soon as possible. A couple of things left to do between both me and Jonathan, Joka Design. And once that's done, it'll go out to everybody for free.
A lot of fun for all these guys, as you know, but like you're saying, with the level that these drivers are at and how much of a level they've jumped in this year's competition or this season's competition, a track like this is needed. It needs it to show any little faults from these drivers and really keep them focused and dialed in, where even they know, oh, maybe I can sacrifice one round. Now it's no, you even this final round, you got to come out and give it your all. As we have Kazuki Fukushi at the line, and it looks like he's ready to start off Group 2 for qualifying.
Yeah, a couple of drivers still left on the course. As soon as they clear out, it looks like we're letting them roll. Kazuki Fukushi off for his first run, turning back in the Lancer. Kazuki always been a strong driver, previously in the Celica, if you can remember that awesome little unit. As he continues on here with the Lancer. Looking smooth so far. And a little hesitant picking that throttle back up. Judges want to see him pick up throttle hard and stay on it and really carry that momentum through the inside clip and then to the next outside zone. But Kazuki, solid run. And across the line.
Yeah, Kazuki makes it and does very well. 90.7 on the board for the first run in Group 2. So that's going to set a bit of a precedent for the rest of the group for any of the spotters out there. Oh, 90.7 for Kazuki's run, as we have Ahmed El Harbi here for his first run of qualifying. Initiates in that BMW, misses out on that inside clip though, goes a little wide, but makes up for it on the next one as he gets through turn 1 there. Transitioning now for the back half here. Makes it, as he comes into the decel zone, makes it nicely through that inside clip, but could have been a bit deeper on it up on those rumbles, maybe even leaving the next outside clip a little early, but he's making it work with that BMW, and he is looking solid out there, really kind of holding the wheel, holding the line, not too much wavering going on. So we'll see what the judges say after that run for Ahmed. So now Ahmed there getting an 84. So just like I was saying, probably a few things here and there that he needs to clean up for the second run as we move over to Alexander Yeager. Alexander Yeager in that Toyota Supra. Initiates in. And not as tight to that inside clip, but makes it work for that outside zone. And it definitely makes it work back for the second inside clip as he finishes out turn one and comes to the second half. These Supras are fast around here. Coming into that next inside clip off the decel. Looking smooth, dropping some tire though on that outside zone as he comes into that inside clip. Man, there's so many clips here, zones. You get confused sometimes as he tries to push for that wall, maybe coming off it just a bit there, but settles out and finishes out the run. Waiting for one more score to come in for Alexander Yegard and matching Ahmed's score with an 84 as well. We have Pro Drift Academy driver Reese Tatterson sitting at the line. Let's see what Reese can do for us here today. Initiates in. Reese looked good in the last round, did very well, got almost all the way, I think he was all the way to top 16 or maybe the top 8. I believe it was the top 8 for Reese Tatterson in the last round, so he's already feeling good and looking good around this course. Very nicely done through that decel into that inside clip as we come to the last stages of this course. Holding it together and just putting the car exactly kind of where it needs to go. Then it comes down to this wall ride. Hangs out wing over the wall and finishes out smooth. Reese Tatterson.
Yeah, is Reese back? Reese looking good in that run. 92.7 on the board for Reese Tatterson. Here we go with Kawayne Ebanks returning back in the GTR. Fantastic looking GTR, by the way. Him and his teammate. And looking good here after initiation. Down to the inside clip. Again, using those rumble strips as he should on those outside zones. Picking up that throttle, continuing on. Picking up the momentum for this transition here. And this big turn. The top of the course there, back down the hill. And a little bit off of that wall there in the beginning, but works it back out to the outside and across the finish line.
Yeah, Kawayne Ebanks doing really good there, 93.7. And that was a great run from Kawayne. You know, it's all put together on exactly where it needed to be. Austin Meeks sitting at the line now, ready to go for his first run of qualifying. Let's see what he can do in the Cadillac. Good to see him back in it. Initiates in. Looking good so far through the first turn here, turn one. Holding it together nicely, makes the transition work through that next inside clip. Now for the decel into the inside. Looks nice and clean through there. Austin really making it work here. Looking good. Pushing through now. Only one more clip to go, one more outside zone to go onto that wall. Makes his way out there and finishes it out. Yeah, very good run there from Austin Meeks.
Very good indeed. Austin has been practicing his butt off all week, and there it is, 90.7 on the board for Austin Meeks and his first run of the day. And here comes Robert. Returning back in his C. Really sitting third place right now. Looking good through a turn one. Could have been a little bit further on the outside for those outside zones. But continuing on, track edge through that one. Back into the inside clip and to the rumble strip for that outside zone. Robert dialed in here in the second half of this run. Last and final transition. Up along the wall. And across that finish line.
Got very important runs for Robert here as he is in that championship fight. He could win it today at a 95.3 for Robert. Wow, what a score to come out swinging with on your first lap. You still got one more qualifier to go, man. Leave some for the rest of Group 2. Victor Alves in the S15. Initiates in, huge flick initiation, looking good through that first inside clip. Really making short work there of the first turn and looking good doing that Team Excellence S15. Making the transition for this inside clip, maybe carried a bit too much speed, almost misses out on it, but does manage to get it. Throws it through the next inside clip, up onto those rumbles through the outer zone, maybe touching the rumbles on that last inside clip. As he makes the wall ride attempt now, gets on it, makes his way out there. Not a bad run there from Victor Alves.
Yeah, good run indeed there for Victor. We wait on those scores to come through. And an 88.7 on the board for Victor as Olivier on the line, ready to go. It's good to see him back in his S14. And initiating in for the first time today. All the way out to the outside zone. Good on the inside clip. And flying through the power alley section here. Big decel, and he drops a tire, goes super wide past the inside clip. Big deduction coming there for his run. A little bit wide there for that next inside clip as well. Out to the outside zone, last and final transition. All the way out there to the wall. Really sort of a practice run at this point, as that's going to be, again, a big deduction there in that decel area of the course. But he's got another run.
He definitely does. A 78.7 for Olivier. But, I mean, when we looked at the wall ride there at the end, he was on it and it looked great. So now he just needs to do that for the rest of the course. We have Christian Petrov in his S15 rocking around. He's actually our final driver of Group 2. We still got a whole nother set of qualifying runs to go. He's banging it off the limiter there as he comes into this decel zone. Little correction as he comes into that inside clip, but makes it work as he still just has that foot planted on that limiter. As he comes to that final inside clip, getting up on that rumble strip just a little bit though. Comes time for the wall ride. Gets it, works his way out there for the finish. So very good run from Christian for his first one out.
Yeah, but at the same time, you know, there's more gears, you know. 84.7 on the board for Christian Petrov. We're back around to Kazuki Fukushi for his second run of the day, sitting on a 90.7. And big flick from Kazuki. Looking good through turn one so far, down to the inside clip, staying off that rumble. Just a little bit out to the outside rumble. And all the way out to track edge. Nicely done with the inside clip. A little hesitant picking up the throttle, but it's a tough one to do there, as you need that car to grip up to, you know, start driving forward for the inside clip. But continuing on a good run here in qualifying. Kazuki trying to better the 90.7. It will be close.
And Kazuki just making it past that 91.7, getting a 91.3 for the second score. And that's a good qualifying score to have there. Nice tiebreaker and pretty nice and high up there too. As we have Ahmed Al-Harbi sitting on that 84. And if our predictions are right, that is in the danger zone. So he's going to want to improve. Initiates in, not as tight to that first inside clip. But it looks good through the next one, and the outer zones again could be deeper in these outer zones. He really needs to get up on those rumble strips. As he transitions now for that inside clip, makes it work, makes it look good too. Could have been a bit deeper on those rumbles again, but almost playing it safe here for this run. He's not getting up on the rumbles, but he's not really doing anything else too wrong either. Through that final outside zone into the wall ride. And yeah, overall, a good run from Ahmed. Just a few things to maybe improve on.
Yeah, just a little bit here and there, trying to better the 84.7, and he does with the 87.3. Would Again, have to wait and see what that cutoff score is going to be like today with this extended track. Alexander Yegard off for his second run, trying to better the 84. Throwing that super end in turn one. Not quite all the way out there onto the rumble. Same with that one as well. Probably the most important rumble strip to be on, that outside zone 3 through that power alley section. Really to show that the driver is using every bit of the course that he possibly can, and to push that lead a little bit wider for that chase position later on today for the top 32. Alexander Yegard continuing on here. Last and final outside zone along the wall and across the finish line.
Alexander Yeager there, coming out swinging for the second run. Does improve his score, but not by much. Ends up with an 85 for his second run. So let's hope he manages to get into competition later today. Is this man, Reese Tatterson, came out swinging the first run on a 92.7. Reese might be back for this track. He might just be loving the flow. As I say that, he goes a little wide there for that inside clip, makes it work for the outer zone, and now really starts to put it together here. And he looks so comfortable on the first run. Oh, that was a lot of speed coming into that decel zone, and he makes it work. Reese here just putting on a show. Maybe he's just happy with that 92.7, and he just wants to see what the car can do out there. Really putting it down. One last transition onto that wall ride, hangs that into the wall.
My goodness gracious.
Oh, what a run that was turning out to be, too.
And an unfortunate 0 there for Reese Tatterson. I'm not sure I've ever seen anyone get grabbed by the wall so violently, but hopefully everything's all right. Kawain off for his second run, 93.7 on the board. Pretty safe to say that he will be in the top 32 later today, but again, we'll have to wait and see. We've already had some pretty high scores today, and this is just group 2 here. Looking good there through the inside clip, out to the rumble strip there for the next outside zone. Track edge for that one. He continues on. Last and final transition for the last and final turn. And across that finish line, trying to better the 93.7. He might have done it.
Yeah, that was a fantastic run there from Quain, and especially because he's in the fight for that Rookie of the Year up against Vladislav Kulovic. So he's going to want to make sure he lays everything he's got down for the last round here of the Virtual Drift Championship. And he does improve with a 94.3. So very good job indeed from Kawain Ebanks. So we have Austin Meeks sitting at the line and a 90.7 for his first run. So we'll see if he can improve on that and get himself a little higher up in the top 32. As he initiates in nice and tight to that inside clip, pushing all the way out for that outer zone. Grabs the next one as well. Could have been a bit deeper in that next outer zone, but makes it work for the transition in the next inside clip as he comes in that decel area. Grabs that inside clip beautifully. He does do that well as he transitions for the last few clipping points of this course. And looking nice and smooth through it is Austin Meeks, looking very dialed. That practice definitely did pay off for him as he taps that wall, but stays in it.
It's all your fault, Tanner.
Meeks. It is not.
Good run indeed, Austin. Sitting on the 98.7. It's going to fall a little short, 86 on the board after touching the wall, but that 90.7 might be enough to push him on into the top 32. I know that sounds crazy to have a 90 on the board and you might get into the top 32, but that's how it's gone this season. Robert off for his second run, sitting on the 95.3, current #1 qualifier here. Again, important today as he is in that championship fight. Oh, and dropping a little tire there through the transition and all the way out there, maybe dropping out to the other side of it. Transitions a little early there. Needs to correct that line through that section of the course, but does a very good job in making it very smooth. correcting that line, continuing on across that finish line. Robert Kivsinski.
Yeah, just a couple few things here and there, maybe really going full send on that run and dropping a few tires as well. So ending up with an 86.7 for his second run. So if anyone manages also to get a 95.3, well, let's hope that his second score is enough for a tiebreaker. Victor Alves heading out for the second run, sitting on an 88.7. Initiates in nice and tight to that inside rumbles, or that inside clip. He pushes out for the outer zone through the next two. Makes the transition work. Lots of angle to that inside clip. Huge flick to rotation. Has to pull out of it. Does end up taking out that front inside clip off the decel and dropping tire there at clip 11 as he transitions now to the final outer zone. Into that final wall ride. Victor Alves holding it together, but really full send run here for these drivers on these second runs here for Group 2.
Yeah, really going after it, but didn't quite pay off. 85.3 on the board. Here's Olivier on for his second run. 78.7 on the board currently. As he throws that S14 in. Little waver there in the angle through turn one, but locked in there for that outside zone. All the way out there to the outside. You see a little puff of dirt pop up, but didn't upset the vehicle too much. And there's a big hump out there, dropping a little bit of there as well, but I imagine just teeny tiny deductions as he's dropping like a quarter of a tire off that back edge. Maybe a little too deep. He keeps things going and across the finish line.
Very good shot there from Olivier for that second run. That'll definitely improve on that 78.7, and he almost gets 10 points more on an 87 for his final run. So he's going to hope that's enough to maybe get into competition later today. Only a few more groups to go. So Christian Petrov, our final driver of Group 2, sitting on an 84.7, sending it in. We're going to hear that limiter the whole way around this course. He could be deeper through those outside zones, makes the transition work. We'll see what he can do here. Gets through the next outer zone, gets off throttle, back on throttle. Looking good, but again, just could be deeper in the spots that the judges want to see him go deeper. Touches that rumble strip with that inside tire off that inside clip. Doesn't on that one. One more to go. The wall ride. Puts it on there. Looks good. But will that be enough to improve the 84.7?
I'll tell you what's wrong with it.
What's
It
that?
ain't got no wheel speed in it. Christian Petrov with the second run. Trying to better the 84. Look at there, 91.3 on the board for Christian Petrov to round out Group 2. Group 3 coming up, though, and loading in. And Robert at the top of the leaderboard. 95.3, Kuwait 94.3, and Shoma hanging on with his 94 there in third position.
Yeah, very important one there for Robert to get that top qualifier spot. He needs all the points he can get and really push himself away from hopefully the rest of the competition from later today. That will be Zach O'Sullivan and Alan Hines there. But again, upsets could happen, and we could see other drivers a little farther back, maybe get up higher in the championship fight that they think they're actually going to get to. I think it's the closest championship fight we've had here with the Virtual Drift Championship, and it's just been so exciting.
Yeah, it certainly has, and our shortest season ever as well. We've really always done 8-round seasons. We did a 10-round season one time. We'll never do that again. Too long of a season. And then this year, we chose to cut it down to 6 rounds, obviously, and start after the Christmas break. And I think it paid off. It's made it so exciting. Each and every round is that much more important because there's less rounds, less points to go around. And there's the current standings right there, the top 32 of Season 7 before this round started. With Zach in the lead, Alan in second, and Robert in third. But at the same time, you can't count Brandon out either.
No, you definitely can't. I mean, if he goes on to win, yeah, it's 100 points. That, you know, effectively puts him up to the top. If, say, Zach and Robert don't get the top qualifier spot, Brandon can come out and get it and end up winning. There's so many variables in this competition that it's literally still anyone's game. There's still a few people that can make it up and win it today and completely upset everybody. So it's going to be really important for those drivers in that top 5 to really bring their all today and really try their best to get as high up as they can. As the practice runs finish up, Maxime Tingai is at the line. Looks like he's ready to start off Group 3's qualifying. Maxime coming down and initiating in. Maxime's really been on it all year here. You know, all last 5 rounds, really able to put that Sylvia exactly where he wants it to be and do exactly what he needs to do with it. So he makes the transitions work here into the D-cell. Looking good through that inside clip, pushes nice and wide out for the next outside zone. And Maxime's just been on another level, so whatever he did over the break there for this season really paid off for him. And it's great to see him out and just throwing down. Really making work of this course here. Maxime Tingai finishing out the run.
Yeah, what a run there from Maxime indeed. 92.3 on the board. Strong score. That's going to put him in 5th position. But we are missing a score there. We'll have to see if we can get that corrected. Reese Tatterson missing from that top leaderboard there. Dan Dirks here all the way out there across that rumble strip, but ends up wide for the next inside clip. All the way out there for the rumble strip for the next one, though. Continuing on, flying through the power alley section. I believe just sort of forgets to decel there. Goes wide for the inside clip and wide for the outside as well. Continuing on, second half of the course. That's some final transition. All the way out there to that wall. Dan Dirks.
Who needs brakes when you have full send? 69. That's
nice.
A nice number, Dan Dirks. So, good qualifying score. 69. Jordan El Nasser at the line in the Dodge Viper. Let's see what he can do here. Slowly improving over this season and coming to terms with that Viper. We'll see what he can do here. Looking good so far through turn 1. Pushes all the way out, gets on that rumble. Makes the transition work, gets through that inside clip. Or makes the transition stick. A little bobble there, though, through the transition. But holds it together, dropping a tad of tire as he comes through the final few clips of the course. But putting the car where it needs to be and looking to have a really solid qualifying session here for his first run out. Pushes out to the finish. Jordan El Nasser.
Yeah, finishing out strong is Jordan. Another one, been putting a bunch of practice in over the weekend. Paying off, 91.7 on the board for Jordan. As we move on to William Holloway. First run of the day. Turning in the KMR Miata here. Throwing that little car in. And he's going to end up a little wide for the inside clip and a little shallow for the next outside zone. All the way out there for the rumble. We're outside 3. And smooth decel, but hesitant on that throttle and ends up on the wrong line through that inside clip into the next outside zone. And back down the hill is William using that rumble strip, last and final transition for this final turn along that wall. And there he goes, finishing it out.
Yeah, William there just almost sounded like he was maybe in the wrong gear coming through the decel zone and had to clutch kick it like it was 1989 Toyota Corolla and get it around that turn. And he does end up with an 87.7, which isn't a bad score there. Maybe just needs to improve on it just a little bit as we have Alexander Element in the 370Z initiating in. Looking good so far in here, nice and smooth. Could have been a bit more inside for that inside clip, but holds it together here. Alexander Element throwing it down, making it work through the decel and through that outer zone. On a good line as well as he pushes through that next outside zone into the inside clip. 2 more to go. Gets on that wall and holds it there. Alexander Element back on form and looking good.
Yeah, looking good indeed. Dialed through that run is Alexander Element, as he typically is. So we wait on that score to come through. And look at there, a 96 on the board for Alexander Element. And that's going to put him in the #1 qualifying position as we move on to T-Con. Beep boop Pileski. Throwing that car in is T-Con in that fresh auto S14. Looking good through turn 1, all the way out to the rumble strip. And filling that next outside zone. T-Con dialed in here. Picks up throttle. Using that rumble strip as he should. And again, all the way out there. Off the inside. Strobes on. Picking up throttle for the last and final zone. And there he goes across that finish line. T-Con, is he back?
Wow. What a run that was. That was fire from T-Con. Not as high as Alexander Elements, and 95.3 on the board though for T-Con. So yes, I would say he is back. What a qualifying score. Luciano Canero in the rotary powered Corvette initiates in, gets through that inside clip, looking clean here through turn 1. Could have been a little deeper on that last outer zone, but makes it work as he pulls through the next half of this course, gets onto the decel nicely through that inside clip. Right as we thought we were gonna, we got you drivers. They'd come out here and make it look easy as pie. Luciano really throwing it down. One more outer zone to navigate. Nice and close to the wall. Luciano.
Wow.
A good run.
Probably the best we've seen set into the last and final outside zone. The way he set in on the wall and stayed there on that outside through the beginning portion of that section and continued it around. And there it is, 95 on the board for Luciano. He came out swinging last round, and here he is today. Nick Hang up next. Lights are on, and he is off through the chicane, ready for run 1. On that car end, looking good. Watched him a few times through practice, and Nick looks very dialed in and comfortable through this course. And picking up that throttle. Nice and consistent through there. Lots of commitment. Back down the hill. Filling that next outside zone. And there he goes across the finish line. Nick Hang coming out swinging for his first run.
Yeah, Nick Hang. Hanging it all out there. And coming home with an 89.7. Just shy of that 90, but definitely something he can make for in the second run. Still an 89.7 is a good score to have. Augusto Ferreira in the RTR Mustang. Let's see what he can throw down for the first run of qualifying. Huge initiation. Looking a little tight to that inside clip, but makes it work for the outer zone. A little hesitant there to kind of walk it out to... Oh, wow, hitting that bump too. That's Augusto really going for it here. Maybe just not getting that Mustang in the spots that it needs to be in. Could have been a lot farther on those rumbles. Now really makes it work on that one there. Gets it all the way out to track edge and second to last outer zone. Just needs to do that now on the entire course, maybe bouncing off the wall just a little bit or giving it a kiss. But Augusto throwing it down.
Yeah, my goodness. Almost throwing it all away there in that last and final turn, but comes out on top. 88.7 on the board. And here is Andreas Lene for his first run of the day, returning back in that S15. And really just a public S15 with its own livery on it and looking good through turn one. Out to the rumble strip just a little bit there for that outside zone. Looking good through the power alley. Down to the D-cell zone. Not quite all the way out there to that track edge, but smooth through the inside clip. Transitions across, drops half a tire there as we see the puff of dirt pop up. Out to the rumble strip. Last and final turn. We're coming up a little shallow of that outside zone. And quite a big outside zone there, so, quite a ways off the wall.
Yeah, Andreas Lene there is looking good through the whole run. Just kind of that last zone kind of left a lot of room on the table, but an 87.3, and you know what? Play it safe, get those points, go hard on the second run. So let's hope he can improve that, and hopefully he sees competition later today as we move back around to the top of the list with Maxime Tingai sitting on a 92.3, initiates in. Maxime, like I said, been looking so good all season and really dialed in from previous years, looking good. Really flying through the course here, lots of angle, barely any correction on that wheel, holds it through that D-cell into the inside and outer zone. Now for the last turn to navigate in this course. Maxime just looking dialed as he's got one more to go. The wall ride, the make or break of the run, and makes it through clean.
Yeah, a safe 92.3 already on the board, but he goes after it and betters it with a 93.7. Dan Dirks at the line, ready to go. Coming off his nice score of 69. There he is, entering in, picking up throttle. A little bit tight to the inside clip, which puts him a little shallow for that outside zone, but all the way out there to the rumble strip for that one. Down across the inside clip, and he's flying again through the power alley section, but this time remembers the D-cell, picks that throttle back up all the way out there for the outside zone. A little shallow on that one as he continues on up the hill. At the plateau, back down the hill, and filling that next outside zone. Last and final transition for this last turn along that wall, works it out to the outside and across the line.
That was a lot better of a run there, Dan. Dan Dirks cleaning it up for the second run. Will it be enough to get into competition later today? We will see, but it is an 83, which greatly improves that 69 that he was on. Jordan El Nasser, 91.7. He is his highest qualifying score yet for this season. Initiates in. Let's see if he can improve on it. Nice through that inside clip, all the way out track edge with that outer zone. Really making it work, walking the car out. Now through the power alley section, transitioning for the D-cell. Nice and clean around that D-cell, gets back on throttle. Nice and out to track edge. Putting the car exactly where it needs to go. Looks like that practice definitely is paying off for him. He's got one more outer zone to navigate. Little hesitant there. He bobbled a bit, but he makes it through and finishes out the run.
Yeah, it does indeed. Sitting on the 91.7, trying to maybe better that to be a little bit safer into the top 32. And a 91. So falls just a little bit shy, but consistent nonetheless. William Holloway at the line, ready to go for his second run of the day. 87.7 is what he's currently sitting on in that KMR Riata. And not quite as deep as he could have been for outside zone 2, out to 3. And oh, up on the bump for 4 and continues on anyway. Every time I've hit that, it has been absolute death for me, but William continuing on anyway. But it's going to be a big deduction there for his score, filling that outside zone. Last and final transition, picking up throttle and coming up a little short there. Works it back out to the outside and across the line.
Yeah, a lot of major mistakes there in William Holloway's second run, and 74.3 does make it sound about right. So he's got to hope that 87.7 is enough later today, but there's still 2 groups left, and the way they're going, it's going to be crazy. Current number 1 qualifier, sitting on a 96, ready to throw it down yet again. Alexander Element initiates in. Huge flick entry as he comes through the first turn super quick. Now into the power alley section, grabs that inside clip, transitions for the D-cell. Can he make it work? He does. Beautifully done. Carries so much momentum through there, but manages to stay online, kicking up some dirt there, maybe dropping a little bit of a tire as he comes through that last inside clip, pushes out to the outer zone. Now just the wall ride to navigate a little hiccup, a little bobble, but he keeps it together, keeps it on the wall, and finishes out that run.
Yeah, finishes out strong. 96 is what he's currently sitting on, and he'll stick with it. 96 on the board, 90 for his second run. And Tikon Pileski at the line, ready to go to try and better his 95.3. Through the chicane. And initiating in, tons of angle there, picks up throttle. Nicely done for inside clip. 1 and 2 all the way out there for the rumble strip. Nicely done for outside 4. And through that D-cell zone, super clean as Tikon Pileski. Filling that next outside zone, up the hill. At the top of it, back down it. Nicely done for the inside clip, doing everything he needs to here in that position. Picking up throttle all the way out there to the wall. And finishes it out strong.
Very good run from Tikon there. Really putting in the effort, making it work, and ends up with a 96.3. Just knocking Alexander Element off of that top spot, and now taking the top of qualifying. Very good run, Tikon. Sitting on a 95, though, Luciano Canero. Could he answer back to Tikon? Throws it in the rotary-powered Corvette. Got all the way out to that rumble strip, through that inside clip. Looking clean so far through turn 1. Through the power alley section. Could have been a bit tighter to that inside clip, but makes it work through that D-cell zone. Picks up throttle. Keeps pushing out to that track edge. Looking very clean here. Putting it together and doing exactly what he needs to do with the car. Can be another high score, but will it be enough to compete with the 96.3 that Tikon just put down?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Still sitting on a 95. Coming out swinging for run 2. 92.7 on the board, so falling just a little bit shy, but sitting with that 95, he should be safe into that top 32. Nick Hang off for his second run. 89.7 on his first run, picking up throttle. Nicely done for the inside clip, out to the outside zone. And continuing on here, could have been a little deeper there for that outside zone with the rumble strip. Flying through this power alley section, picking up throttle a little bit on the inside. Has to correct that angle just a little bit through that inside clip. Nicely done, going up the hill. Back down it for the inside clip. Next outside zone, using that rumble strip. That's the final zone along that wall. Works it all the way out there and finishes it out.
Yeah, Nick Hang trying to improve that 89.7 and does so by 1 whole point. A 90.7 gets him into the 90s, so good job there from Nick Hang, sitting on an 88.7. This next qualifier, Augusto Ferreira in that Mustang RTR initiates in. Lots of speed carried, a little bobble though coming to that inside clip. But now starts to settle out the Mustang. Could have been a lot deeper into these outer zones, grabbing that hump again. Really just thrown it down with the Mustang here, kind of without care of the line. He needs to focus on that if he wants to get a high score here today. Pushes out now onto the rumbles for that third to last outer zone. Through the second to last, now one more to go. The wall ride plays it a bit safe, works his way out to the edge and finishes out the run.
Yeah, another solid run there from Augusto, trying to better the 88.7. He might need to, so we've seen those scores creep up, and in all previous rounds be into the 90s to make it in. And there it is, 85 on the board, so falls a little bit short, and he'll have to stick with that 88.7. Andreas, last driver of Group 3 here, 87.3. Might want to better it. He enters in, picks up throttle. Good line there through those first couple of zones and clips. Fill in that zone. Could have been a little deeper over that rumble strip. Snappy transition. Picks up throttle, but is still going to wash a little wide for that inside clip. Fill in that next outside zone, as well as that one. Right along that white line, out to the rumble strip, down to the inside clip. Last and final turn, works it out to that outside, and there he goes. Finishing it out for Group 3, 87.3 for his first score, and an 89 for run 2, so bettering that score, and that's going to do it again for 3 groups of qualifying. Group 4 is up next, so that means we will have to restart the server, so we're going to take a small break, listen to our sponsors, and we will be right back with more qualifying here at Jyllands-Ringen. Welcome back, everyone. Again, this is round 6, the final round of qualifying. We're back with more of it. 3 groups of qualifying down, 2 more to go. Tikon Pileski leads them with a 96.3. Alexander Element with his 96, and Robert with his 95.3 on the board to round out top 3. It's been exciting so far. And again, with this super long layout, 16 clips for this layout, 10 outside zones, 6 inside clips to maybe break them, help break up qualifying a little bit. But as you can see on the leaderboards, it's been a bunch of high scoring runs so far.
The choice of these drivers, man, we throw everything at them and they just learn to adapt and overcome the situations that they're in, and they put on a great show for us. And you know, looking at group 4 here, even though the top qualifiers had a 96.3, you know, your current points leader Zach O'Sullivan's in this group, so we'll see, and Brandon Patrick. There's a bunch of strong guys in this group, so we'll see if maybe any of them can maybe dethrone Tikon Pileski.
That's going to be a tough one. Again, how long the layout is. 96.3 is such a ridiculous score. But again, the drivers just, you know, we try and come up with a little bit of, you know, hard stuff, challenging stuff, longer stuff, and they just prove they're all robots every single time. And here's Caleb. Lights are on. And he's through the chicane, returning back in that awesome New Edge Mustang, 2J powered as well. So he rolls onto the throttle, picking up that inside clip nicely, down to the next one, all the way out there. Continuing on through the power rally section, nice transition across, nice and smooth with the decel as well, stays off that rumble strip. All they need to do is keep a tire off of that rumble strip, does maybe a little bit onto it, falls a little short for the outside zone as well if he wants to be all the way up onto that rumble strip. That's a final transition, makes a little correction there to get the car all the way out to the outside, but strong run for Caleb.
Yeah, Caleb Dauphiné coming out swinging. First run out of the gate for Group 4 and an 89.3. So that's a good precedent for how the rest of the group is going to go. Alexander Shavrook in the 370Z as well. Ready to go for his first run of qualifying. Let's see what he can lay down. Teammate Alexander Element ending up with a 96 there. We'll see what Alexander can do. Throwing it in. Getting through that inside clip. Pushing out. Trying to get in as wide as he can out of that outer zone, but doesn't get all the way out to track edge. Transitions out into the D-cell, looks good around it. Pushing through the course here, putting the car where it needs to go. Now looking really solid out here is Alexander. Not a lot of wavering, just on line, holding his angle. Now for the wall ride. Puts it together clean. Clean run from Alexander Shavrook.
Clean run indeed. And there it is, a 90.3 on the board for Shavrook. And here's Austin Zalewski returning in his Supra. Lights are on. He's ready to go. Through the chicane. And a smooth initiation from Austin. Picks up throttle. Nicely done here through turn 1. Smooth transition there. Gets around that inside clip. Smooth on the decel, but comes up maybe a little short there. He is over that first hash, but again, could have been a little bit closer to the rumble strip. Judges don't want to see him up onto the rumble strip with that tire, but right up against it for those maximum points. Works that car out to the wall. Across that finish line, Austin Zalewski for run 1.
Yeah, Austin Zalewski there coming out with a 91 for his first score. We're kind of starting to see a trend here, but slowly building up. So let's see if Ernestus Yakulvis can keep up the momentum and get a 92 down on the board, or even a 91 point something as he initiates in. Looking good, pushing out to the edge there, maybe a little deeper into that second outer zone, but makes up for it on the next one, transitioning through the power alley section. Huge snapped angle there, but holds it together beautifully through the D-cell zone, up on the rumble strips and track edge for the next two outside zones. Kulibitz just throwing it down out here. Looking good doing it. One last outside zone to navigate. The wall ride puts it nice and deep on the wall, holds lots of angle, finishes out that run.
Yeah, nicely done, Ernestus. We wait on the judges. Yasirsad at the line in his RX-7. And look at there, 92.7 on the board for Ernestus. And that'll put him in the top 8. So we send Yasirsad off for his first run of the day. And throwing that RX-7 in, looking good here. A little bit tight to the inside clip, but using the rumble for the outside zone. Comes up shy of that one, though. Judges want to see him use all of that rumble strip there along that outside zone. Sweeping through that inside clip. And a snappy transition to work up the hill. Drops a little bit of tire off that edge, though. Back down the hill, up onto that inside rumble. Last and final turn here. Keeping things going, Yasirsad across the finish line.
Yeah, Yasirsad making it work, getting around the track. A couple of mistakes that he'll clean up for his second run, but an 87.7 in total. As we have Stanislav now at the line. Another 370s. We almost got to get these guys some different colors so we know who they all are, especially if they all end up in competition. Looking good, though, through the initiation, though, and through the first turn. Really speeding through the course here as he comes in for the D-cell. Tons of angle, has to make an adjustment. Makes it through that inside clip, though, pushes all the way out to that track edge as he makes it work now through the second half of this course. Pushing out to track edge to the second to last outside zone. One more outer zone to navigate. Works his way out there, puts the bumper on the wall, and finishes out the run.
Yeah, nicely done from Stanislav. That's his first run of his VDC career. Here in the final round of Season 7. And look at there, 91 on the board. That'll put him in 15th so far. Russell Jones at the line, ready to go. Through the chicane. Run 1 coming up here. Throws that car in nicely. Very smooth so far. Comes up shallow of that outside zone, though. Gets around the inside clip. Shallow as well. Not using that rumble strip at outside zone 3. But fills that next one all the way out there to that track edge. Continuing on. Using the rumble down. Up the hill. Nicely done for the inside clip. Using that rumble once again. And there on the inside. Not exactly what judges want to see. Picking up that throttle for the last and final zone. Continuing on. Russell Jones.
Russell Jones trying his hardest to throw it all down in that GR86. We wait for his scores to come in. A 90.3 for Russell Jones. Very good job indeed. Victor Lacheris now at the line. Victor Lacheris in that S15, getting the build up, initiates in. Was locking that front tire, coming through that first inside clip, but holds it all together, pushes nice and wide for that outer zone. Using all the track available to him. Let's see how he does in the D-cell. Looking good. Getting back on throttle, carrying that momentum. Really making it work here, and that's going to be so important during battles, that D-cell zone. As he gets all the way out to the edge there for that second to last outer zone. Now gets it on the wall. Hangs that wing over. Ooh, maybe touched the wall there right at the end, causing that quick little spin. We'll see, though.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough one there. We'll have to wait and see how the judges score that one. But yeah, going the opposite direction that he really should be going. They are gonna score it anyway, and it's gonna be high, 92.7 on the board. Daniel Andreev at the line, ready to go for his first run. Lights are flashing. Lights are on. Smooths through that chicane. Man, really tossing that car into turn one. A little bit out to the rumble. Off of it for the inside clips and on it for 3. Down across that inside clip. Snappy transition. Going a little backwards, making a small correction there across that inside clip, but filling the next outside zone, as well as that one moving up the hill now. Back down it for the inside clip. Next outside zone, utilizing that rumble strip. Picking up throttle and picking up a piece of the wall as well, halfway through it.
That was almost a run ender right there. You went into it, bounced, caught it right away, got back on throttle. So we'll see how big of a deduction the judges give him for that run. We're actually still waiting for that score to come in for Daniel. Probably taking a second look at that wall tap to see if he's straightened, if it's deemed a 0 or not. And here come in the scores. Few down already, and there it is, a 74.3 for Daniel due to that hit. So now, sitting at the line, our current points leader, Zach O'Sullivan. Another man who is out here to win today and take home his first VDC championship win. Initiates in, Zach O'Sullivan, right to angle, looking good through inside clip 1, out to the outer zone. All turn 1 here, looking good. Another one, just right on that limiter the whole way through. But makes it look good through the decel, carries that momentum. Zach O'Sullivan putting the car exactly where it needs to be. Nice, on to the second to last outer zone. Now just the wall ride. This is the scary bit. Can he hold it together? Looks good. Zach O'Sullivan, wow, what a clean run.
Yeah, fantastic run in. Look at there, 96.3 on the board. And look where that puts him, #1 position, tied with Tikhon Pileski. We'll have to wait and see on his second run. See if that'll keep him there. Brandon Patrick out for his first run of the day in the Ferrari. Said he wasn't too big of a fan of the track, but also said that for Manfield, and he won that event. And here he goes, cooking through the track now. Snappy transition, goes a little backwards there, picks up throttle, picks up the inside clip, continues on up the hill now. Grabbing that inside clip, filling the next one back down the hill. Last and final transition. Comes up a little shy, has to work that big Ferrari back out to the outside. There he goes, across that finish line.
Very good run from Brandon Patrick for saying, you know, he's not comfortable with the course. 90.3, so that's not bad at all. And then just going back to Zach O'Sullivan there, he'll need to beat a 95.3 of Tikhon Pileski on his second run. Artem Chulkov, though, our final driver here of Group 4, sending it in. Looking good. Could have been a bit deeper into that outer zone onto that rumble. Definitely way too shallow on that next outside zone. But he'll try to make it work and make up for it here at the D-cell. Looks good through it. A little bobble at the beginning, but holds on to it as he comes through the next 2 outer zones. Pushes out. Grabs that final inside clip, going up on the rumble just so slightly as he makes the transition for the final time. Onto the wall ride. And finishes out his first run.
Yeah, not bad from Chulkov there. That's the final driver of the group. And look at there, 91 on the board. Solid score. So we move around to Caleb for his second run, sitting on an 89.3. As we watch those qualifying scores just get higher and higher, that cutoff moving higher and higher, and a little bit over that white line there along that initiation, really taking out those cones, continuing on, not quite utilizing that rumble strip, but filling that next outside zone and that one as well, but going wide for that inside clip. A tough clip to pick up and do right through this course. The course itself isn't too difficult to get through it, but to get through it and fill all of the 10 outside zones and get the inside clips right is very difficult. And there it is across that finish line, Caleb Dauphiné.
Yeah, Caleb looking like he was just after that initiation, he just couldn't get the momentum back. He couldn't find that groove. He just kind of put the right foot down and said, let's try to make something out of this, and ends up with an 82.7. So not as great as his 89.3, and he's got to hope that that's enough to get into qualifying later today. Now at the line, Alexander Shabrook sitting on that 90.3. Let's see what they can do for their second run. Initiates in. Looking good, nice and smooth here so far. Just touching that rumble strip before coming off and transitioning now through the power alley section. Gets through it nice and clean. Looks good through the D-cell. Back on throttle, holding that momentum through. Nice and close to track edge there for that next outside zone. Only a few more clips left to navigate. He's nice and smooth through this course. Just putting it exactly where it needs to be. And just having fun out there on the second run, Alexander Shabrook.
Yep, sitting on a 90.3, 91 on the board for run 2. So we move on to Austin Zalewski. Really sitting on his 91, returning back in the A80 Supra. And very clean through turn 1. Works all the way out there to that rumble strip. Filling that next outside zone, flying through the power alley section here. Nice and smooth on the D-cell. Very good for the inside clip. Filling that next outside zone, working up the hill. Grabbing the inside clip. Working back down now. Some final turn coming up for the wall ride. And across the line, Austin Zalewski looking good for run 2.
Austin Zalewski really throwing it down there and really showing that, hey, I can do better. And a 93, he does improve on the 91, and that'll bump him up a little bit higher into competition later today. As Ernestus Yakulibes, sitting on a 92.7, goes for their second run of the day. Initiating in, maybe a little over that white line as he throws it into that inside clip. Looking good now through the rest of it. Wow, that was close to dropping a tire in the dirt, but he keeps it out of there as he makes the transition now for this inside clip. Look at that, doing it so beautifully. Ernest is really putting it together here for the second run of the day. Trying to do everything he can to better that score. Puts it onto the wall. Looks good. Ernestus throwing it out there for the second run.
And almost having a collision there with the Sear on his way to the line. But 92.7, 94.7 now on the board for Ernestus, bettering his first run. Yasir Saad at the line, ready to go now for his second run of the day. 87.7, what he's currently sitting on. And initiating in right along that white line, but washes super wide past the inside clip, grabs the next outside zone, and all the way across that rumble strip for that outside zone. Down into the D-cell area, picking up throttle, locking into that angle. Transitions up the hill now. flattening out and back down. It drops another tire over that inside rumble. Not quite getting around it. Picking up that throttle. Working out, back out to the wall, and almost takes a piece of it, but finishes it out.
Yeah, just a few mistakes here and there, and ends up with an 86 for his final run of qualifying, as this man at the line now sitting on a 91. Stanislav ready to go and throw it down, see if he can improve for his second run ever of VDC qualifying. Gets through that inside clip, which was nice, and out to the outer zone. Nice and smooth and dialed here through the first turn. He comes into the decel zone carrying lots of speed, has to adjust into it, but makes it work, gets all the way out there. Really just planting that foot and sending this 370Z through this course. It is going through it very quickly. One more outer zone to navigate. That was a lot of angle to throw at that wall ride, and gets it on there and holds it the whole way around. Very good job from Stanislav.
Good job indeed. 94.3 on the board, bettering the 91. As again, we see those cutoff scores get higher and higher. Already a little bit higher than what I was expecting. We're into the 88s already with that cutoff score. Here's Russell Jones sitting on a 90.3, currently safe. But again, we've got one more group left to go before we move into the top 32 main event. Filling that outside zone. Looking good here through that power alley section, along that inside clip, along that track edge. Picking up throttle, picking up that momentum before that transition to go up the hill. All the way up onto that rumble strip for that second to last outside zone. Here's the final one with the wall ride and across that finish line.
And looking there, ending up with a 94 on the board for his second run of qualifying. So it does improve greatly and does a good job at doing it. Sitting on a 92.7, Victor Lacheris ready to send it in. Initiates in that S15, gets through that inside clip, pushes out to the outer zone. Could have been a tad deeper there, but makes it work for the next one. He comes through the power alley section now and into this inside clip. Looking good so far. Makes the transition work. Holds through. Really just putting together a solid run here. Just doing what he's got to do. Gets up on that rumble strip for the final outside zone. Tries to get it on the wall. And holds it there. Victor Lacheris sending it for his second run. Trying to improve that 92.7.
Yeah, it'll be close, but not. It falls short. 88.7. Daniel Andreev at the line needs to better the 74.3 after getting a hunk of the wall at the end of his first run. Snap initiation from Daniel here as he continues on all the way out there for that rumble strip. And nicely done for that outside zone, as well as that one. Good for the inside clip as well. Snappy transition, picks up that throttle early. Really good run here so far for Daniel Andreev as he works up the hill. Grabs that inside clip. He's going to come up a little short there of that rumble strip for the outside zone, but stays off of it for the inside clip. Uses it a little bit for that second to last one. Picking up throttle along the wall there and finishing it out.
There's Daniel. There's the one we know, and a 94.3. That is way better than that 74.3 and up into the 90s. Now, sitting on a 96.3, our current points leader in the championship, and now trying to be the top qualifier. Zach O'Sullivan in the Sim Magic Racing Toyota Supra initiates in and holds it beautifully through the first three clipping points. Comes through the next one, transitions. Almost looks as dialed as T-Con here as he makes it into this inside clip. Pushes out. Looking good so far. Makes the transition work. Zach really on it here. holding that angle, holding that line, no wavering whatsoever. He needs to better a 95 to take the #1 qualifying spot.
And look at there, he ties it with a 96.3. So that is going to put him in the #1 qualifying position, giving him a little extra points here in qualifying as we move on to Brandon Patrick. Entering in is Brandon. A little bit too far on the inside, so that puts him a little shallow for that second outside zone. And pulls out of the angle there as he leaves outside zone 3 through the power alley section. A little late on that transition, a little wide there. Could have been a little tighter to that rumble strip as he works up the hill now. Filling the next outside zone. Back down. Using all of that rumble strip there. Last and final transition for that wall. Hanging the wing over it and across the finish line. Brandon Patrick.
Very good job from Brandon Patrick indeed. An 88.7, so not as good as his 90.3, but for someone who's not comfortable with the track, that is still a pretty good representative score. Artem Chulkov, our final driver of Group 4, still one more group to go here of qualifying, sitting on a 91. Initiates in that JZA 80 Supra, gets through that inside clip, pushes all the way out to the rumble strip there for the second outer zone. Not as deep as he could have been in that third outer zone, but makes it work as he comes through the power alley section, maybe a little shallow through that inside clip, but makes the T-cell zone work and gets into that inside clip all the way to track edge for the next 2 outer zones. Now up onto the rumble strip, just kissing it, trying to put it all the way out there in that Toyota Supra. One more clip left to navigate, outer zone to navigate, as he puts it on the wall, holds his angle, finishes out the first qualifying session.
Yeah, that is going to do it for 4 groups of qualifying. 92 on the board to finish it out. But again, we've got one more group left to load in, and that cutoff score just raising higher and higher. 88.7 now, almost into the 89s. Very exciting round of qualifying indeed. Again, final round of the season. Zach O'Sullivan currently sitting at #1 position here in qualifying with 2 96.3s. That's going to be tough to beat. Tikhon Pilecki with his 96.3. But again, with a 95 for his lower score. Alexander Element with a 96 sitting in third. And Stanislav rounding out the top 8 here in qualifying is first VDC event and coming out swinging, looking good.
Yes, Stanislav is kind of the big surprise here. Comes out first VDC event and just goes, okay, bet, and does the course very, very well. And it'll be great to see him in future competition for next season, as I'm sure he can bring a big fight to the rest of the big dogs out there. While we have the current standings up on the board in this group is Alan Hines, potentially the last person left that could upset our qualifier. Still a lot of good drivers here. Anybody can do it, but if anyone could, it would be Alan Hines. Alan Hines right on the heels of Zach O'Sullivan in the points race. He's got to have a great qualifying to kind of keep that momentum and be close enough there in the top 32 to hopefully make it through and get to the finals. So that way Zach O'Sullivan doesn't run away with it. Robert Kavinsky on 344, Alan Hines on 347, Zach O'Sullivan on 372. Is so close. But Brandon Patrick still in the fight as well. All these guys have very bad battles. Brandon Patrick goes on to win. He could take the championship. So it's so close, and this has been such a great season, not only for the quality of driving, but also just how close everything in general has been, even with this condensed season. So, GG to the drivers at the end of the day.
Absolutely, putting it all on the line indeed, and for some really good prizes as well that we'll talk about a little bit later. A bunch of stuff coming from Sim Magic and Next Level Racing, Grip Roll as well. Exciting things that these guys are competing for. And here we go, Yuna at the line, ready to go. Last group of qualifying. Lights are on. And he creeps through the chicane there, actually giving the concrete cone a bump, but throwing that car into turn one. Nicely done for the Eclipse and Zones, but coming up a little shallow for the outside ones. Again, judges want to see him utilize those rumble strips where they can. Drops a little bit of the tire off the back of that one, but keeps things going nicely through the inside clip and the next outside zone, working his way up the hill now. Working back down here in the little M1 series. That's some final transition and wall ride across that finish line. Yuna looking good here in qualifying.
Yeah, with a couple things here and there, but overall it was a great run, and the score shows for it a 90.7, only pushing our top 32 even higher. Now, sitting on the line, Alan Hines, our second points leader. So he's right behind Zach O'Sullivan, and potentially the only other one who could maybe get top qualifier. There could be a few others. Let's see what he can do. Initiates in, grabs that inside clip, pushes out to that outer edge. Doesn't quite grab the rumble strip, but pushes out all the way to track edge there on that one. Makes it work through the inside clip. Now down into the decel zone, gets to that inside clip beautifully, holds the momentum. He is looking dialed in here, staying off those inside clips, rumble strips. Could have been a bit deeper on that second to last outer zone. That's the only thing I can really pick out from this run, but Alan Hines really trying to throw it down.
Trying to throw it down indeed, and I think he did just that. What a run from Alan Hines. But again, tough to say that he would be the only one. Look at there, another 96.3 as he ties Zach and T-Con with their 96.3s. And here's Steven Hatcher. But yeah, again, hard to say that he's the only one. As we saw last round, Ethan Pikachu coming out swinging and qualifying #1 at Wall, New Jersey. A very tough track as Steven continues on through the course here, filling that next outside zone and cooking it through the power alley section. Picking up throttle, nicely done for the inside clip. Works out to that rumble. And up the hill now, reaching the top of it for that outside zone. That's some final outside zone. Final turn. And nicely done by Steven Hatcher.
Yeah, Steven Hatcher looking really dialed today, actually. Not saying he doesn't on other days, but like that was a very good run from Steven. 91.7 for Steven Hatcher there. So shout out to my fellow Canadian, and good to see you up there all the way in the 90s. As we have Caja Salunas in the BMW wagon, initiates in, lots of angle off the initiation, really kind of flicked it in there to get that outside zone. Making his way through the power alley now, filling out that last outer zone there. As he comes into the D-cell zone. Makes it work through it. Caja's looking pretty dialed in here. Holding it together. Could have been a little tighter through that inside clip as he comes through the last half of this course. Pushing out wide. Looking good. Looking dialed. Really sending it around this course here was Caja's.
Looking good in the big wagon there on this big track. 85 on the board though, so that's going to fall short of the top 32. Erikas Jurkis at the line, ready to go. Lights are on, and he is smooth through the chicane. Nice smooth initiation, but washes a little wide there through that inside clip, but grabs the next outside zone all the way out there for that one as he powers through this power alley. Smooth transition as he slowly decels there all the way up onto those rumbles, again utilizing all of them here in these outside zones as he should be doing. Back down the hill, last and final turn coming up. And he settles in nicely to it, picks up throttle, works it all the way out to the edge and across that finish line. I got a little message there from Maxime. He said, you know, we're always talking about, you know, what he did over the off season because he's been doing so good this season. 91 coming through for Erikas. And, you know, a little sponsor plug, but I guess he picked up a SimMagic Direct Drive. So, you know, I guess he's crediting proof is in the pudding.
It definitely is. You know, I've heard nothing but great things about those new SimMagic Direct Drives, and I can't wait to get my hands on one myself and give it a go. As we have Masashi Yoshida throwing this R33 around, VA powered R33. Big snap angle there on the transition as he comes into the D-cell. A little clutch kick and gets through it. Holding that momentum, looking good out there. Looking beautiful. Masashi Yoshida, one outer zone left to navigate. And pushes his way through in that R33. Looking good. Love to see the R33 out there.
Yeah, it's so good looking. And look at there, 92.7 on the board. Masashi just, again, moving that cutoff score higher and higher. We're almost into the 90s already. Brandon Gardner out for his first run. Throwing that NOS energy. Nissan ZN. And flying through the course. Got a few practice runs in with him over the week. And that car is fast through the course. Smooth transition to work up the hill. Filling that outside zone. Here he comes back down it, doing everything he should be doing in a lead position. And there he goes, finishing out run one.
Well, good run indeed from Brandon Gardner, 94.3. Getting nice and high up on the board. Darius Ostreka now at the line, ready to go. Initiates in, Darius Ostreka. That line pushing all the way out to the rumble strip, getting that next inside clip. Looking good here through the first turn and half of this course down to that D-cell zone. Gets through that inside clip nicely all the way out there to the next outer zone. Pushing out on the last half of the course. Not many left to go. Maybe just touching that inside rumble strip as he makes one last transition onto the wall ride. Pushes through and finishes out this run.
Yeah, it's good to see Darius back in the E92 again. Looking dialed, 94.3 on the board, and here's Marcus Lundqvist. His first run of the day. Mr. Pink Drifter himself. Style for days as he picks up throttle, a little tight to the inside clip and a little shallow for the outside zone. As he continues on, a little waver in his angle there. As he makes this transition to work through the power alley section down to the D-cell. Nicely done though, very smooth, picks up throttle, picking up momentum now, and up the hill. Such a fun section of the course here, this hill, and back down it. It flows so nicely when done correctly. Last and final transition here, picking up that throttle, working the car to the outside, pouring on the angle, and across the finish line.
Yeah, Marcus. Oh, I love that car. 85.7 there for Marcus Lundqvist, and nice changes to livery. It looks good. As we have Dimitri Mitten now in this BMW. Initiating in. Pushing all the way out to the edge. Looking good so far. Nice and close to that track edge. Almost kicking up some of that gravel that was there. He makes his way through to that decel zone, trying to get that inside clip. Does manage to get on it. So we'll see what he can do here for the last half of this course. Pushing out, next outer zone, could have been a bit deeper onto it, but grabs the inside clip nicely into that second to last outer zone. Now for the wall ride, good blind through that wall ride, gets up on it early, and finishes out Dimitri Mitten's run.
Yeah, nicely done there from Dimitri. 92 on the board as Daniel Mora is at the line ready to go. So we see that cutoff score get higher and higher, and I think we're missing a driver tucked up in there as well. Reese Tatterson has a little glitch in the system we'll have to work out. We'll get the bracket generated before we cut this live stream off. And as our last driver works through the course here for his first run, drops a bit of tire there that's going to put him wide for that inside clip, but working all the way out there for the outside zone. Transitions a little bit offline there. He has to make a correction to grab that outside zone. Back down the hill now, all the way out there as he should. And nicely done for the last and final outside zone there along that wall.
It's Daniel Mora. Gonna need a 90.7 or better to get into top 32 battles, and ends up with an 84.3 on the first run as we move back around to the top here for our final runs here of qualifying. We're almost done for this season's qualifying sessions. Una Warnen in the BMW, ready to go. Let's see what he can do. Sitting on that 90.7 already. Maybe wants to improve just a little bit as he washes wide for that inside clip. Just make sure he's safe in the competition for battles later today. Makes the transition through the next inside clip. Now down to that decel zone. The all-important decel zone to grab that inside clip and carry that momentum out to that outer zone. It's looking like he's doing pretty good here so far. Could be a bit deeper in a few of these outer zones, but holds it together with Una. It does Una as we come into the final wall ride. They're just holding it together, looking really good around that wall ride. Pushing through and finishing out the run.
Pushing through indeed, trying to better the 90.7. He might want to do it to be safe, and he ties it 90.7 again. And here's Alan Hines at the line. It's up to him to better the 96.3 if he wants that #1 qualifying position. And here he goes, throwing that Pro Drift Academy S15 in, picking up throttle, looking good through turn 1, a little shallow on outside 2, but works out to the rumble strip for 3. Nicely done for 4, down to the inside clip. Smooth transition, picks that throttle up. Very well done. Works his way up the hill, all the way out there across that rumble strip, back down. Just touching that one. Last and final transition. Wall ride out to it and across that finish line. Alan Hines.
Yeah, Alan Hines throwing it down. Maybe a little hesitant coming in, but oh man, there it is. Another new #1 qualifier. Alan Hines, the 97.3 on the board. Wow. Come out swinging. As we move on to our next driver here, Stephen Hatcher, fellow Canadian. Good to have him out here in this rotary-powered FDRX7. Really throwing it around. Again, sitting on a 91.7 is Stephen Hatcher. He is into competition. He just wants to try and improve that and get a little higher up on the board as he gets through that decel zone cleanly as he's mashing the limiter on that rotary power. Coming through now to the second to last outside zone. One more outer zone to navigate. Pushes through and makes it work and gets through Stephen Hatcher.
Dang. Steven said, I'm not done yet. 91.7 for his first run. Trying to better it. He might just do that with that run. 92.3 on the board, so does fall shy of the #1 position, but Cages at the line. Lights are on, ready to go. 85 on the board, so he needs to better it if he wants to make it into the top 32. Throws that wagon in, picks up throttle, comes up short of that outside zone, a little wide for the next inside clip, as well as he make a angle adjustment, leaving outside 3, and drops a little bit of tire off the back of that outside zone in that decel area. A little offline there. So we look at those skid marks, just super tight through qualifying here. All of these drivers are just next level today, and there he goes across that finish line. Nicely done.
Is coming out swinging, trying to improve, and ends up with an 82.7 for his final run of qualifying. So we will not see him in competition, but thank you for all your hard work all season long. As we have Eric Kazirkas sitting on a 91. He's already in, wants to improve a little bit more though, as we see him come through the first half of this course. Nice and on the rumble strip there for that second lap outer zone that he was on. Now coming into that decel and into that inside clip. On throttle he goes, carrying that momentum around, really throwing this BMW in, making it work, getting in there. Up on that rumble strip though for that last inside clip. As he gets on the brakes there, settles in for the wall ride, hangs it all out there to hopefully improve on that 91.
Yeah, nicely done there from Erikas. And a little bit better than his previous 92.3 on the board. Masashi Yoshida, 92.7 is what he's currently sitting on. See if he has it in him to better that score. And there he goes, entering in nicely is Masashi. All the way out there for that outside zone. Well as that one. Dialed in here is Yoshida. Snappy transition, almost over rotates a little bit. He has to pull a little bit of angle out there to get around that inside clip and then to the outside zone at the top of the hill. Now working back down, filling that outside zone. Last and final turn coming up here along this wall and finishing out strong.
Masashi really throwing it on that run and ending up with a 95 for his second run, really improving on that 92.7. So what an awesome run that was there. Now sitting on a 94.3. This man here, Brandon Gardner, in that NOS energy drink Nissan Z, who they can throw down for their second run, initiates in. Looking good through the first inside clip and the next outer zone. Got to push it all the way out there, tries to get it on that rumble strip, falls a little short though, but makes it work through the power alley section. Now into that decel, got to throw it in, tries to get nice and tight to that clip, doesn't really make it, but makes up for it with that outer zone, dropping just a tad of tire there, missing out on the next inside clip. He's got to kind of shape up this run to be a bit better, but it is coming together nicely as he throws it into that final wall ride for the final time of qualifying. We'll wait for those scores to come in.
Yeah, did a good job there in his second run, trying to better than 94.3, already into the top 32, but can he move up positions there with that run? And he does not. Falls just a little bit shy, 92 on the board. And here's Darius Ostrako again with another 94.3. It's really up to these guys to keep their lower scores up. And look at that initiation from Darius, trying to make his lower score the 94.3 as he continues on all the way out there along that rumble strip. A little bit late on that transition there. Very smooth in that decel area, continues on. Working his way up the hill now. Really nice line all the way out there to that track edge. Super tight to the inside clips here as he works down the hill. Darius Ostrako on a tear here. Last and final turn along this wall and across the finish line.
Darius really throwing it down there and matching his, oh no, just beating his score with a 94.7. A very good run indeed. Now sitting on an 85.7 and needing to improve to get into competition later today. This man here, Marcus Lindquist, Mr. Pink Drifter himself, in that Nissan 240SX, initiates in. Let's see what he can do for his second run. Gets through that inside clip and the second outer zone clean. Pushes all the way out to that rumble strip. Gets through the next outside zone. He's holding a good line here. He's got to keep it together for that decel, and he does. Looking good. Couple waivers in the wheel to keep that car in control, but he makes it through. Pushing up to that rumble strip for that third to last outer zone. Now in the second to last, one more wall ride to go. Will we see Marcus Lindquist in competition later today? That run might have put him into it.
Yeah, it's going to be close. Needs to better. Oh, and it's going to be an 89. Yeah, it's an 89. So falls just a little shy. Is it higher?
Yeah, that was a mistake. I think one of the judges moved over one cell that they weren't supposed to be in.
Whoopsies.
There we go. Now the score is in and dialed. It is an 87.7 for his second run.
Ooh, so falling just a little bit shy as we continue on. Dimitri Mitten already into the top 32, but has a chance to better his 92 and work up some positions. He picks up throttle and falls a little shallow in outside zone 2. Just barely touching the rumble strip there. Continuing on a little wide of the inside clip. And as well as that one, again, need to be tight to the rumble strips, not hanging the tire over it, but hanging that bumper over it is ideal as he continues on down the hill here. And there he goes across that finish line, Dimitri Mitten, for the last time this season.
And Dimitri Mitten there with a 91 as we move over to our final driver of qualifying here for the final round of the Virtual Drift Championship this season. We want to thank everybody for joining us today as we watch Daniel Mora sitting on that 84.3. He's got to try and get it up there and get that score high enough that he makes it into the top 32 for the final time this season. We'll see what he throws down as he comes into this decel zone, gets it through that inside clip, looking good as he gets back on throttle, putting the car where it needs to be, holding it out there, getting up on those rumbles. Lots of angle coming into that next outer zone. He's got one more wall to navigate, gets on throttle, keeps it there. It finishes out his run.
Yeah, it's gonna be close. Last and final qualifying run, and it's a 90.7 on the board. We'll have to wait and see if that 90.7 is, as we can see here, the 90.7 is the cutoff score for a top 32.
Looking at it quickly, I don't think his score is going to be enough as Austin Meeks is at the bottom of the 32.
Yeah, it's what his lower score is for Austin.
His 80 lower score is an 86. So with an 84, I don't think that'll be enough to get in. But we'll wait till the sheet is all sorted and actually, let the computer do the math.
Yeah,
we'll
absolutely.
if it works out.
Yeah, for sure. We'll give the judges a little bit of time to sort the list there and get everybody into the correct order, but Zach O'Sullivan is definitely going to take that number one qualifying position with a 96.3. T-Con as well in second, Alexander Element in third. But we'll take a short break. We'll sort the list. We'll generate the bracket, and we'll come right back with all of that information. Welcome back, everyone. We've got everything sorted. We'll take a look at today's top 32 bracket. And there it is. Alan Hines in that number 1 qualifying position. He'll face off against Austin Meeks. Austin making it into the top 32 today. And man, what exciting battles we have coming up. Zach O'Sullivan, there he is, top right, qualifying second. He'll face off against Nick Hang later on today in the top 32. But our first group, Alan Hines versus Austin Meeks. Maxime Tengai versus Austin Zalewski. Darius Elstraka versus Jordan El Nasser. Jordan, another one making it in the top 32 today. Ernestas Yakulubis and Artem Chalkov will start out our top 32. Again, later today, we'll take about an hour break. Come back at the top of the hour. So 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. British Standard Time. And we'll see everybody back then. Again, thank you everyone who tuned in today for today's qualifying. Again, our last and final round of the season. It's a bittersweet ending, but an exciting one at that. We've got a ton of drivers super duper close in the standings. We'll bring that up one more time here. Again, this is before today's qualifying, so things getting mixed up a little bit here and there in those standings due to those qualifying points. Take a snapshot if you need to. It's also been posted to our socials. But again, that's going to do it. Big shout out to our sponsors, Sim Magic. We're powered by Next Level Racing, Grip Royal, Tire Stacks, Yoka Design, and a big shout out to Rocky for providing us with awesome content all season long. If you missed the teaser video for today, please go back and watch it. It is ridiculous. But again, tune in just about an hour, 3 p.m. Eastern, and we'll see everybody then.